Test. Test. Thank you. We'd like to get started tonight. Right off the bat, very first thing, we have a very special presentation. It'll take just a few minutes before we get to honor our retirees. And so with that, Mr. Minkham is in charge of the video over there, so he can show video. Then I'm going to introduce some folks to come up quickly.
We could dig deeper. We can write stories. Yeah. We can code. We can learn the rules.
We can learn music.
We can learn new vocabulary.
We can learn our lines.
Because we are readers, life is exciting.
We can learn extra funds.
Okay, that was a video from the Garland Elementary, and right now I've got some folks I want to bring up, and Michelle McConkey's coming up. She's from SITLA, which is part of the Trust Lands organization, and so I'm going to let her explain what she's holding and what you just saw. Is that fair enough?
So thank you so much for having us tonight. Thank you so much for having us tonight. I'm Michelle McConkey, as was said. I'm the director of the School and Institutional Trust Lands Administration, sometimes called SITLA. We often call it the School Trust Lands Administration. And we manage about 3.5 million acres of land across the state, and the money that is made off of that is invested, and then it goes to public schools. So I have a fantastic job because my job is to make money for school kids, and I love it. But I've never quite so literally given money to school kids. I'm quite excited about that. We had a social media video contest, and Garland Elementary, we had a lot of wonderful submissions, but Garland Elementary's, as you can see, was just exceptionally done. Really amazing young people involved, and we are so excited to be able to give them a check. We have an actual check as well, but this is a giant check for $2,500, and we're so excited to be able to give it to them as the winners of our social media contest. Principal Crane.
I'll tell you who we have here really quick, because I know the retirees were not here to see this, but thank you for being our audience. This is Cosette Nilsson, Griffin Nilsson, and Kate Nilsson. This is Dason Richin. This is Maddox Johnson, sorry. Okay. This is Jace Marino, Colt Kofet,
Marcia Hernandez.
Hayes Porret.
Denominator Boy.
Zuri Walker.
And then we also would ask Jessica Nilsson to please come up here really fast. She's a busy mom, and she's on our school community council, and she saw that this was a contest. I had seen it as well, but very quickly thought, I don't have time for this. But she came in and said, if you can help me come up with an idea, I'll film it for you. So we brainstormed for a few minutes. She put together this darling video with these really cool kids and earned us $2,500. So thank you. Let's get a picture.
Okay, I think one more introduction. The lady now holding the big check is Nancy Kennedy, and she's a former Box Elder School District board member who currently is the chairperson for the Trust Lands for the state of Utah. Is that still current, right? Trust Lands Advisory Committee. So that's why she's here, and we thank her. And thank you, Trust Lands and SITLA, for all that you do for our schools. It's the amount of money that comes through the lands in our state that helps our schools and kids be successful is just tremendous. So thank you very much. Okay, with that, we're going to turn the time over to Karina Fife. She's the executive director of our Human Resources Department, and she's going to take this. And you have a mic, right? So, okay. Okay, maybe mine off.
Is that going to work? Yeah? Okay. Is that going to work? Okay. I'm talking. Okay. All right. Thank you. So we're so excited to be here tonight and honor our retirees. It's seriously one of the best parts of our job. And these folks that we're going to honor tonight, they deserve so much more for all the time that they've put in. And we're just so grateful for the opportunity that we've had to communicate with them and work with them, and for all the years of service they've put in for Box Elder School District. Their write-ups are a little longer than what is on here, but we just took a few sentences to share with you to get through 23 retirees that we're recognizing tonight. And we know that you deserve so much more than that, but we have your write-up all written out for you and in the folder so that you can read the whole thing. So if you'll come up when we say your name, then we'd like to present you with your plaque. Blaine Norris. You're welcome. Congratulations. Okay, stay here while I read this. So, Blaine has been in education for the past 30 years. He has a very even temperament and ability to display remarkable patience. Blaine has, over his career, touched the lives of many students, built lasting friendships with his colleagues, and had a positive attitude in all he does. He will be missed, and we wish him the very best in all his future adventures. Congratulations, Blaine. Okay, next we have Cheryl Thompson. I don't think she's here tonight, but I'm going to read this. Okay. Cheryl has been a special education preschool teacher with Box Elder School District for over 15 years. Cheryl loves all the children who come into her classroom, and she is extremely dedicated to each of these young learners, ensuring every single one of them makes progress, feels safe, and is ready for their next steps. Thank you for all the fun times. It's been a joy having you in our district, and we wish you the best. Next we have Colleen Mitchell, and I don't believe she's here either. So Colleen has worked for the district for over 30 years. She touched many lives through different roles she's held as a teacher and then later a preschool para. Those that had the privilege of working with her every day saw how much she cared for her students, and in return, how much her students adored her. We hope that retirement is everything she hoped it would be, and that she knows just how missed she will be. Okay, Daniel Frankham. Okay, Mr. Frankham has been an invaluable presence at our school, teaching everything from computers and Spanish to journalism and art. He has won awards such as the KSL Teacher Feature, highlighting his dedication to his career. Mr. Frankham, your dedication, kindness, and leadership have made our school a better place. Congratulations. Diana Udy is not here today. Diana's passion for education and planning fun activities for the kids has made her a great addition to ACYI for many decades she has worked here. She is a legend for teaching kids how to tie quilts and has donated them to several worthy causes over the years, such as shelters and children's hospitals. Diana has legendary high expectations for students, and when they return, they all say she prepared them wonderfully for the middle and high school Spanish. Diana will be missed by all. Okay, George Christensen. Yes. George Christensen worked as a custodian at Bear River High School for over 15 years. We are grateful for his time and dedication to this school. George is always willing to help anyone that needed it and was very loved by everyone at Bear River High School. His presence here will be very missed, but we wish him the best in his retirement. Congratulations. Next we have Lonnie DePrima. Where'd she go? Little lights. Here you go. Lonnie began her career as a custodian at ACYI about 20 years ago. When the opportunity arose, her hard work allowed her to become the head custodian at Willard Elementary. She has always been dedicated to her school, coworkers, and students. Students truly loved her. In the hallways at Willard, it was often heard and observed, "Hello, Lonnie," and give her a high five. We appreciate Lonnie for all she has done to help our district during so many years. Enjoy retirement, Lonnie. Jan Christensen. Here you go. Okay, Jan has been dedicated to the Box Elder School District for over 25 years. She always puts students first. She is irreplaceable, and we will miss her greatly. We look forward to her visiting often and still listening to us. We love you, Jan. Congratulations. Jerry Santos. Doing okay? Doing okay?
I'm fine.
Okay, Jerry started in BESD in August 1993 at Curran Elementary. She came to the district office in 2007 as the IT secretary and then moved to curricular secretary in 2010. We are grateful for all her dedication. Jerry will be leaving us to go cruising around the world, starting in Alaska, but don't worry, you can always find her at Fizz every Saturday morning at 9:20. Congratulations, Jerry. Joylene Ritchie. Joylene Ritchie began her teaching career in 1982 after graduating from Utah State University. She joined Box Elder School District in 1999 and has since served in many roles, including classroom teacher, literacy coach, and head teacher. For the past several years, she has been the beloved K-2 teacher at Snowville Elementary, where her care and dedication have made a lasting impact. We are so grateful for the time, heart, and expertise she has shared with the students, staff, and the entire district. Thank you, Joylene. Kim Miller, and she's not here tonight. Mrs. Miller has been a pillar of support for hundreds of students, offering a listening ear and providing invaluable strategies and advice to help them navigate academic, social, and personal challenges. One of her standout contributions has been her leadership in Hope Squad activities, where she has constantly made events engaging, fun, and impactful. Her dedication to the emotional and psychological development of students has left a lasting impact on the entire student body and faculty. Laura Lee Hall is also not here tonight. Mrs. Hall is a dedicated drama educator who has inspired and shaped the lives of hundreds of students through numerous productions and engaging instruction. Through a diverse range of plays and production, Laura has provided students with valuable theatrical experience while encouraging personal growth and self-expression. Mrs. Hall's influence extends beyond the classroom, empowering the next generation of creative thinkers and theater artists. Lola Baker. I just have to say, Lola also taught all my children, and she has been here for 40 years in this district. So Lola has worked with the students since 1985, which is a whopping 40 years. There is no one that loves her students more. She has the ability to understand the needs of every child, and even when it seems hard, she loves them. When you think there is no way to get a student to learn, she somehow has the ability to let them believe in themselves and learn and achieve. We love you, Miss Baker. We will miss you. Enjoy the grandkids and try to slow down. Congratulations. Mary Bingham. Mary became our Medicaid secretary a couple of years ago. She has worked hard to learn all the ins and outs of this complicated process. She is such a hard worker. One of the things I have loved most about Mary is her positive attitude. She always comes to work happy and shares that happiness to everyone. She is such a delightful person and will be sorely missed. Congratulations. Michael Reeder. Michael started his teaching career at Beaver High School and almost quit teaching. He then moved to Box Elder Middle School and taught for 1 year. Next was to ACYI when it was built and finished his music endorsement. He worked at ACYI for 8 years and then moved to the high school where he worked for 22 years. He loved making music at Box Elder High School and is proud to have increased the school spirit at Box Elder High School. Thank you. Michelle Coombs, and she's not here. Michelle Coombs started with Box Elder as a clerk at Barrow High School. She has worked at several schools and has always been so fun and welcoming in her kitchen. Hope you have some great adventures, Michelle. And finally, is that finally? No. Oh, it's not finally. Okay. Nancy Anderson. Nancy started with Box Elder School District in 2008 as a para for our students. Nancy has been an integral part of the success of the Youth in Care sites for Sunrise High School. She has dedicated herself to being the nurturing adult so many of these students needed. We are so thankful for the time and dedication she has given to not only the students, but to the Sunrise High School staff. Robert Matson is also not here. Robert started employment at Box Elder School District in 1987 on the maintenance crew. He is known as a hard worker and a valuable member of our team. He is adept at the repair needed and willing to tackle the messiest jobs. Robert is also recognized as one of the fastest at clearing snow in our parking lots. Most of all, Robert is a true friend. Enjoy retirement, Robert. Okay, next we have Robin Myers. All the time. From the very beginning at Harris Intermediate, Ms. Myers has been a cherished presence, dedicating years to maintaining not only the physical space, but the heart of our school. Whether it was a holiday decoration or a simple act of kindness, she made sure that Harris Intermediate always felt warm, like a warm, welcoming place for all. We are deeply grateful for the years of care and love and energy she poured into our school community. Congratulations, Robin. Tammy Bingham. Which side do you want to stand on? Began with BESD in 2001 as a special ed para. In 2010, Tammy took on a new challenge as the benefits secretary at the district office, then took on the position as the nurses secretary in 2011. In 2016, Tammy embraced the payroll fixed assets role, transitioning to the payroll clerk position in 2021. For the past 2 years, Tammy has ensured that every employee received their paycheck. That's nice. Demonstrating her unwavering commitment and compassion. Her contagious laughter and playful spirit have brightened our days, and her mischievous nature has made her a joy to work with. Congratulations. Teresa Hunsaker. Sorry. Teresa Hunsaker is a ray of sunshine wherever she has worked. She has always cared so deeply for students and she served, and they always feel that kindness from her. Everything she does is out of love, especially for Danishes. Danishes. Okay, sorry. Congratulations. Trudy Checkett. Trudy began her career with BESD in August 1995 as the receptionist at Bear River High School. She transferred at Box Elder High School in 1997, where she continued serving as the school's receptionist. In 1999, Trudy took over attendance duties. Trudy has loved the daily interactions with coworkers, community students, and parents, always welcoming people to the front office. After 30 years of service, she is now looking forward to retirement and the adventures ahead, leaving behind a legacy of true Box Elder spirit. Congratulations, Trudy. Thank you. And that is all of our retirements. How about one more round for all of our retirees?
Okay, could we have all of the retirees please come up, and let's start at that end. Come down the row and shake all of our hands. We'd love to have the board shake your hands. And so come up here. Kareem, would you like to guide them? Get them to start right about there, please. This way. Start there. Oh. She asked to take a picture of it. Trudy doesn't want to be the star of the show any longer. Congratulations. That's what it was. Congratulations. Happy for you guys. Congratulations. Miss coming into the office. We appreciate you. Congratulations. Happy for you. Way to go. Good job. Congratulations. Have a lot of great fun years. Relaxing. No Sunday night scares. Oh. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. That's really cool. Congratulations, Mike. Way to go, man. Happy for you. You're next, right? Coming around the corner? I know too. Congratulations. Happy. Good luck out there. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. Tar Heel State, right? North Carolina? Duke. Yeah. Oh, you're a Dookie. Way to go, Tammy. Way to get everybody paid. Congratulations. Thank you so much. better out there because there's no speakers right about this. Okay, we'd like to thank you all for coming again and honoring our retirees. We are now going to start our board meeting. And so you're welcome to step out if you want to leave and continue visiting out in the Commons area. Karina. That's good. Okay, if we could continue. We have a unique situation tonight, and I'd like to explain the process. Box Elder School District, as districts across the state, follow a board policy. And tonight, our board president is in St. George supporting Bear River High School baseball, and our board vice president is in. Is that the fan that's come on? Sorry. Is that rain? Wow. Okay. Oh no, don't let the rain. Anyway. Board vice president is over in Cache Valley supporting her son in the state 6th and 7th grade lacrosse tournament. So they were excused prior to our meeting. So we turned to policy 1090 in our Box Elder School District policy. It refers to how we do our there, that wasn't the rain, it was just this. Anyway, how we go forward if our president and vice president are not here, and we follow Robert's Rules of Order. And in Robert's Rules of Order, it says that if the president or the vice president is not here to run the school board, then you go to an election within the remaining board members that are there. And tonight, you need a quorum. We have 7 board members that are acting board members tonight. We do have 4 here, and that allows us to have what is called a quorum. So with that, also the rules say that the secretary of the board, who in this case is our business administrator, will organize the voting to elect what is called the president pro tem. And that's just the board can nominate and then second and then vote to have someone run the run the meeting for the night. So with that, Mr. Stevens, I'll let you take it from there. Usually has a green light.
Yes, working now. All right. I'm brand new to this. I'll try my best here. I open, I guess, the table to nominations for a pro tem for today's meeting. Do we have any nominations?
Wade Hyde.
Wade Hyde nomination, okay. And a second.
Karen Cohen, second.
Karen turn and second the nomination.
You want to ask him for any other nominations?
Do we have any other nominations from the board? Seeing none, let's proceed to vote.
All in favor?
All in favor? Opposed? None. Turn the time over to Wade Hyde.
Okay. Okay, with that now, Wade Hyde, who just recently in December ran the last board meeting, was the president up until just this year, and so very experienced in doing this. We've got a good man at the helm here.
Kind. Thank you. Okay, this meeting is come to order now. First of all, we're going to have our reverence by Neil Stevens, our business administrator, and then our flag salute and pledge of allegiance will be by Stephanie DeFilippis, who is DePhillips, I'm sorry. Stephanie's our newest board member, and I'm just learning everybody's name correctly, so I apologize. Stephanie is going to do the flag salute and pledge of allegiance, and then Stephanie's on double duty tonight because she gets to do recognitions as well, and we'll go in that order.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this day, this chance we have to gather as a school board here to recognize those retirees and those employees who provide great service to our district. We're grateful for the rainfall that we received. We ask you to bless us during our travels home, that we travel in safety. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Please stand and repeat the pledge with me. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started on these awards or recognitions. At Bear River High School last month, we did the Box Elder High School, so this month we're excited to do Bear River High School and being in Bear River side of the valley. So your hard work, integrity, and dedication have set you apart as a remarkable student and role model among your peers. Being named a Sterling Scholar is no small feat. It is a recognition of your well-rounded accomplishments and the promise you hold for the future. We are incredibly proud of your achievements and excited to see where your talents and ambition will take you next. Thank you for representing our school with such distinction. And so these are our Sterling Scholar winners. Maggie Parker in dance. And if you're here, you're welcome to stand. We'll hold all applause until the very end. Is that okay? Yeah. Hold all applause till the very end, and we can do a nice, big. Alyssa O'Neill in mathematics. Kate Logan in visual arts. Josie Jensen in business and marketing. Alicia Spotten, family and consumer science. Reese Johnson in social studies. Shelby Wilkinson in world languages. Isabel Christensen, instrumental music. Kendall Archibald in English. Rachel Nelson, skilled in technical sciences. Emily Robison for science. Logan Knudsen, computer technology. And CJ Curl for speech, theater arts, and forensics. Thank you. Those that are here, if you wouldn't mind just making a very smart line and just coming through, and we'll shake your hands.
Congratulate you. Come on up. We'd like to shake your hand.
And then now also we're doing the Bear River High School FFA group. We are delighted to extend a heartfelt congratulations to you and all the talented FFA members and leaders on your outstanding achievements in this year's FFA competitions. Your dedication, hard work, and passion for agriculture and leadership have truly paid off, and it is a pleasure to recognize your accomplishments. With the amount of people who have helped you get to this point, we want to say special thanks to your leaders, Tyler Rhodes, Linus Coilier, David Schaefer, Kelly Kinsler, Wesley Burrell, and Melissa Ingram. Then to all of you for working so hard and doing your best. There is strength in numbers, and our FFA group is very strong. Thank you for your hard work. Within that, this is a very, very, very small list of their accomplishments this year. And the 5 that we pulled out was the 5-Star Chapter Award, Superior Chapter Award, Overall Chapter Fair Sweepstakes winner, Ag Mechanics State Fair Sweepstakes Award, and the Swine Exhibit State Fair Sweepstakes Award. And I'll tell you that when I was looking at all the accomplishments, like, it went on for at least 2 pages. So, like, they really worked so hard, and we're just so proud of them. Are any of the FFA members here? Please stand if you're an FFA, one of the FFA members, and you're welcome, and we'd love you if you'd come. These students really worked. I was just amazed to see how big the groups were and how many students participated and how well they all did. And we're just so very proud of the whole group, and especially those that are going to come and represent their fellow students.
We don't bite. You're not shy. Congratulations. Good job. Congratulations. Congratulations. Just stay right there.
The next recognition we'd like to talk about is the 2025 Ritchie Science Fair Awards. And I'm wondering, is Ron McCall here by chance? Is she here? Oh, good. She sent a letter. You can sit down now. Thank you. She has been so amazing, and I just would like to say thank you specifically. She sent a letter that explained everything, all the hard work that she put into putting this together. Isn't that correct? Do it. Okay. I didn't write his name on the letter. Will you tell him I didn't know that? And to forgive me. But I just wanted to read a little bit about you and about what you said. It says, Ron McCall, your amazing leader and teacher has worked so hard in making sure you had this opportunity, and we applaud her efforts. And his, sorry. Yeah. She cares so much about making sure students qualify, attend, and have a good time at this fair. She wrote a powerful email giving us a brief history of our participation at this fair that I wanted to highlight a few parts. So this is this what you wrote, or is this what he wrote? Oh, she, there wasn't a name at the end. Anyway, so this must be what he wrote. I apologize. It says, of course, the best part of the experience for the students were the things that they learned while doing their projects. After the science fair, every student could tell me at least one thing that went wrong during their project or an unexpected challenge that they had to overcome. Yet each of them were able to work through the problem and finish their project. They not only gained experience with the scientific method, but also gained public speaking skills, practicing for the science fair and presenting to the judges. It's a really great program, and we'd like to say thank you. Well, I have 4 people. Oh, good. Okay.
This is not something they did as part of a class or for any kind of credit. These projects were completely self-directed, and they chose their own topic. They did it on their own, without very little help, and like she said, all of them encountered some kind of an obstacle in getting their project completed, but they all took on that challenge, and we did really well. At Ritchie Science Fair this year, we were well represented. It's a very competitive competition down there, and to bring home the All Excellence Awards for the middle school, plus a few of the special awards, was really amazing. And I am just so proud of my science fair girls this year.
So that's, and if you're here, if you'll just stand up. Sarah Pace, she got first place in botany. Aaliyah, what is it? I wasn't. Oh yeah, that's the last name. So sorry, I was like, that's not what it looks like here. Okay, yeah. Say it again. Oriana, second place in zoology, microbiology. Anna Allred, third place in medical and health. And Raylyn Logan, excellent in math, physics, astronomy, earth, and space. If you'll come, we'll shake your hands. Okay, we've got two more. Jenny Cross is, oh, fantastic. Jenny, we got, I don't know. Jenny Cross is an outstanding educator, and we want to thank her for her service and dedication over the past 6 years as an English learner coach in the Box Elder School District. Jenny is the kind of teacher every parent hopes is advocating for their child, knowledgeable, passionate, and deeply committed to the growth of every student. She advocates fiercely for all ELL students and has worked tirelessly to help them find their voice, improve their skills, and thrive in our schools. Her leadership has elevated our district's practices and outcomes, and we are undoubtedly better because of her. Thank you.
I have not seen, is Ron Bowden here or any of his young men? Okay. Ron Bowden is the advanced construction class teacher and the woodshop teacher at Box Elder High School. And I'm not going to read this, but real quick. Last year, Ron was approached by the Other Side Village. It's an organization out of Salt Lake City that helps with people who are transitioning from homelessness and addiction and things of that nature into being, having a home and being able to live a sober life. And he was approached by them, and there's a project across the state to build tiny homes for the homeless and those that are in transition. And so they provided the materials, and he had a class, and I went over there and took some pictures one day about, there's only about 8 or 10 kids, and we spent this whole year. And if you go over to Box Elder High School, down in front of the ag shop, pretty much, is one of the tiny homes just about completed. And I think there's everything in there. Everything's just tiny. Kitchen, there's bathroom, there's bedrooms, closets, the whole 9 yards. And so it's a great learning experience for these young folks that were in the advanced construction class to learn skills to possibly make it their vocation, but also, I think more importantly, that they also learn about the purpose of the service that's involved to try to help the less fortunate in this particular case. And so we want to honor Ron and his class, and we'll make sure they get this letter. So thank you.
We can have Jenny come up and we'll shake your hand too. And just a little, nobody can say my name right, so I have no qualms not getting anybody else's name right.
Right here.
Ron, we just barely read your letter. Would you please come up and take the mic and tell us about the whole project? I tried to explain it, and then in a minute we'll introduce your young men with you and you. So tell them about the tiny home project. Would you come and just step this way? Would you mind getting this mic so people can hear you?
Sorry, it's not really an excuse, but we come from the south end of the district, so did a lot of people, but we also deal with high school kids, so we're very punctual. Anyways, my name is Brian Bowden, and I am the wood shop and construction teacher at the high school in Box Elder. And we've had for this past school year a lot of comment from the public about what's being built in our parking lot, because as they drive by, there's structures being framed, and every comment from are they bathrooms for our portable classrooms to homes for teachers to live in, why they don't want to go home to their own house. I don't know. It's just weird stuff. So the point here is hopefully get the word out and let people know what we're involved in and that it's a good cause. So we've been building tiny homes. They're pretty small, probably I think like a little over 400 square feet for a program involved in Salt Lake called the Other Side Village. And they have a whole behavior program, and they've done it for years, and it's extremely successful. But the goal is to help people that are chronically homeless, ex-convicts, people that probably need help getting back on their feet. It gives them a place to stay. They still have to pay rent, and they have certain duties and responsibilities within a community. But what we're doing is providing an opportunity to build the homes that these people will live in. So the goal is to eventually have 500 of them in Salt Lake. And like I said, they've modeled this community. It's actually a whole community of them. They have like a rec center in there, and just public spaces for them to hang out. It's one of their big things that they promote. It's just like accountability amongst peers. And so they go there and meet and check in and stuff like that. But it's been a good opportunity for students to learn trades, skills that hopefully when they graduate, help them get a job. At a minimum, learn the basics of what goes into a home, because hopefully, who knows, with the economy in Utah and the way things are going, one day they will own a home, be buying a home, something, and know the basics of how to fix it or build it or finish a basement. So it's been a good program. I feel like it's been beneficial, and kids have been learning those skills, and it's making me a better teacher, I think. I guess we'll see. We'll see in a couple years if I still love doing it, but no, I'm just kidding. It's been awesome. So I did bring 4 of our students. Unfortunately, we have a bunch of seniors too, and Box Elder had their scholarship and awards assembly tonight, and so many of them are there also, but I guess you could stand up and I'll introduce you. We have, these guys are juniors. We do have one senior with us. We got Grant Haddock in the black shirt, and Cash Anderson, and Troy Martin, and Porter. Yeah, sure. Come up here and shake your hand, their hands, and ask them some questions, because I told them they had to say something.
You start at that end, and when you get here, we'll stop you and ask some questions and take pictures. Congratulations. Stay back there for a second. Congratulations. 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 Thanks. Come right. Hey, gentlemen. They want a picture. This lady's taking pictures for everything, so go ahead and get a picture. Braun, step in there. Thank you, guys. Great project. That brings us to the end of our recognitions, and for those of you who've been around for a while, and I've been around for a long while in different districts, and we recognize people in all districts, but tonight was an exceptionally large group, and Stephanie DePhillips has taken on that responsibility, and it has been a little confusing, and it's not her fault, but she has done a great job tonight presenting these people. So thank you, Stephanie. Okay. With that, I'll turn the time back over to Mr. Hyde, and he can introduce number G.
We can do that. Okay. Thank you, Superintendent. At this time, Louis Whitaker, who is the president of the Box Elder Administrators Association, is going to present the Certified Employee and Volunteer Recognition Awards this night.
Thank you. We had a lot of great nominations. We weren't able to select everyone who was chosen. Let me get in the right spot. And thank you for those of you that were able to be here tonight. First up, Karina Fife from the district office. This nomination comes from Kim Bott. Karina stepped into her Human Resource Title IX position mid-year. With no training, she put on a smile that made everyone feel cared for and got to work learning an enormous amount. She has bettered processes, been equitable, willing to learn, listen, and take action. One of the qualities I love best about Karina is that she is easy to communicate with. She makes you feel comfortable and heard. I watched her at one of the career fairs I was able to attend, and she so easily drew the students in. You could tell she cared about what they were saying, and I think they felt her warmth. Karina puts the human in human resources. She wants our school district to be the very best place to work. She is and will continue to do what it takes to take us to great places. Congratulations. Next up is Christy Kapner, the outstanding elementary administrator. She wasn't able to be here tonight, but her write-up was by April Earl. Christy is truly someone I look up to. Christy knows how to handle things extremely well with good and bad situations. Christy takes the time to make sure everyone's needs are met. Christy has the most compassion and understanding of any boss I have ever worked for. I look up to her in so many ways. Building is so wonderful because of the foundation Christy has set for our school. Our outstanding secondary administrator, Chad Kirby. Chad is just a happy person to be around. This is from Corey Ballard. Myself and other employees feel comfortable that he's our administrator and has wanted to visit with us. He has a laid-back attitude, yet still does what needs to be done. From a personal note, he was my assistant for 5 years. We know each other well. This is a good man. Outstanding related services, Kenley Keller-Strauss, school nurse. I think we're on maternity leave for Kenley. I'll read a couple of lines from her. She's an amazing nurse. She will take the time to answer my million questions and make sure I feel comfortable with all the situations pertaining to her part of my job. She will train me on any medical situation, so I feel I know how things work, and I feel safe doing my job. That was from Amanda Kunzler. Next up, we have Mr. Eric Dutson. Eric Dutson is a keen, accurate, and precise user of the English language. He's a great model and example to those around him, students and adults alike. When it comes to helping people improve their skills, he's the man for the job. That was from Mr. Jeff Knight. And I've sat in many an IEP with Mr. Eric, and he knows how to get right to the meat of the matter. He does a wonderful job in those meetings and brings the positivity out of every situation. He's fantastic. Outstanding elementary teacher, Chrissy Nelson from McKinley. I worked with, I should tell you who this is from. I got to turn the page here. This is from Christine Bennett. I worked with Chrissy at Foothill several years ago when she taught PE, was our behavior para, and later a fourth grade team teacher in an extremely difficult class. Fast forward 3 years, we were needing to hire a second grade teacher for our team at McKinley. I had no reservation suggesting Chrissy. She was at the time teaching fourth grade at Century. I asked her to please come teach second grade, which was going to be a grade change for her. And come to work at McKinley, a Title I school with some extreme behaviors, working with me. I had seen her work with the kids at Foothill. I can't believe she came. She's a teacher that pours her entire heart into her job. She cares for each of her students as well as taking the time to get to know the other students and bond with them. My students feel as comfortable in her room as in mine. Her expectations are high, and she is constantly using student data to drive her instruction. She is fun, energetic, and compassionate. I love working with Chrissy. I'm so happy she agreed to join me. Outstanding elementary teacher, Kristen Taylor from Discovery. This write-up is from Caitlin Bott. Kristen works very hard and has a lot of care for her kids, regardless of what's going on in her life. That may be difficult, you wouldn't know because she gives her all at work. She is amazing and deserves to be seen for her work. Outstanding secondary teacher, Tom Davidson from Box Elder High. Tom Davidson wears many hats at BEHS, but one that isn't official is the biggest contributor to the culture. As a student government advisor, he puts in innumerable amount of hours at the building working with students to ensure the culture is positive and that students feel safe and included. There are weeks where he puts in over 70 hours at the building. He also has dealt with a major problem this year in the online driver's ed, being the coordinator of that, and he helped overcome the problems and ensure our students have opportunities to get their hours in to get their license. I could go on, but these are just a few examples. Jesse Roberts wrote that. Next up, we have Daniel Frankum from Harris. Daniel is an amazing teacher that is always willing to help his students and make the best out of their learning. He's been teaching for a long time and has a lot of experience. He's also very organized and sets high expectations for his students. He's also empathetic when it comes to understanding each individual circumstance. Daniel is a wonderful colleague. He always welcomes every new staff member and takes the time to get to know them better and help them feel welcome and safe. He's always willing to give a hand and help in whatever is needed in the school building. He's a dedicated professional and a wonderful person. That was by Sarah Alfonso. Outstanding volunteer, Connie Toon, Harris Intermediate. We don't see Connie. I'll read you a couple lines from her. She retired from BESD and then came back as a volunteer. She's been helping with math and has been very instrumental. The kids love to go work with her in their math groups. Our next is Emily Stromness, Golden Spike. All right, this write-up comes from Julie Farr. I have seen Emily go above and beyond all year long. She volunteers time in all 3 of her kids' classrooms and makes sure that this time is not infringed upon. She has spent countless hours donating her time, energy, knowledge, and other resources to make sure this year's PTO presidency and events run smoothly at Golden Spike. As a former teacher, she has tremendous insight on ways to do events to help students that is also the least disruptive to teachers and instructional time. As PTO treasurer, she is instrumental in keeping thorough records for our organization, keeping our presidency organized. She is more than willing to stretch herself out of her comfort zone and push herself to do what needs to be done. She wants to ensure that all students at Golden Spike can succeed in school and in life. I have seen her efforts, sleepless nights figuring out the littlest details to make sure our events are successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whitaker. Let's have those folks who were just honored, if they would mind coming up and lining up on this end. We'd love to shake your hands and say thank you from the board and the district leadership. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Five. Cute kiddo, cute kiddo. Thanks, folks. You're all welcome to stay, but you're also, we understand if you want to leave. I just have to say, I'm in my 200 and something board meeting as a superintendent, and I love our meetings in May when we get to honor all these folks. And it's one of the most special meetings every year that we get to have. So thank you once again, and I'll turn the time back over to President Potem Hyde.
Okay. Hey, now we will start our official board meeting. I just need a motion and a second to approve our agenda tonight. I just need a motion and a second to, oh, Karen did the motion for tonight's agenda. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Stephanie did the second, so all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we have tonight's agenda. We will begin with our public comment. We have 2 different comments tonight, so be aware. Our first one is regular public comment that we do, and our second one is our public comment on the new school fee schedule. So they are done separately. So if you're here for just regular public comment, so if you're here for regular public comment, do you first, and then after that, we will do the public comment on the school fees. So first of all, we have, and remember just a few rules. In public comment, it's 3 minutes per person. If you're here representing a group, you can take 6 minutes. You can give us handouts if you would like, and the board will not take final action or have discussion on items unless they are on the agenda this evening. And there will be no personnel comments allowed during the public comment time. Okay, so Laura Wheatley. Laura is our first one. Okay, that's okay. You're Laura.
No, you want me back here so that you can see?
have a picture of you, right there.
Yeah, don't worry. I am just here representing the PTA. We just had our PTA convention last week. Dr. Carlson came, and he played the guitar. It was really fun. We are going to be celebrating as a Utah PTA 100 years, all of 2005. Some serious shirts, that's what I worked just for you. We will be doing events throughout the rest of the year. Peach Days, the Utah PTA is coming. They will be in the Peach Days. I don't know if they're going to be in the parade or if they're just going to be having a booth. But anyways, better. Okay. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that for PTA, that we have been around for 100 years and hopefully 100 more. So, and I will follow up. So I told you that Meta was coming to our leadership convention. I didn't attend the entire message, but one of the takeaways that they talked about was, I'm sorry, I'm going blank now. Just that with their platform, they will, for parents will be able to see who their kids talk to on social media, but not what they say. So they felt like that was kind of a, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Starts with C. Yeah, compromise between parents and kids so that they got to say what they wanted, but the parents would be aware of who their conversations are with. And I will say, I still think that we as parents and leaders need to be aware of age verification. That's one of the hard things for all of these tech companies, is that it's really hard to verify the age of the person who's on. Because not only, I mean, if your child has a device, maybe that's one way that could be identified, but if they're using someone else's device to access their social media, that's still a big problem that we're going to be fighting, I don't know, for a long time. So just something that we still need to push these companies on that is important to parents. So.
Would you give that mic to Ben Wiley?
Ben? Ben is our next one.
Thank you. You're up. Good. I just start? Get a little closer.
No problem.
Career and Technical Education, or CTE, prepares students for real-world careers by combining academics and hands-on learning. Offering CTE classes in a 9-12 grade building model rather than just upper grades provides several clear advantages for students, teachers, and the entire school community. When CTE pathways are available to all high school students, including freshmen, students are exposed to career options earlier. This early exposure helps them make informed decisions about their future classes, whether they plan to enter the workforce, pursue college, or attend technical schools. They can try different classes and pathways, discover their interests and strengths, and avoid wasting time on classes or careers that don't fit. A 9-12 grade building model allows for a more comprehensive CTE program. Teachers can design multi-year learning sequences, building skills progressively from basic to advanced. Students can start with introductory courses and advance to certifications, internships, or dual credit classes by the end of their senior year. This continuity, which we lack now, leads to deeper learning and stronger skill development. Having CTE classes for all 4 years together improves engagement and motivation. Many students thrive in hands-on learning environments, and CTE classes make learning relevant by connecting academics to real-world problems. When students see a purpose to what they're learning, attendance improves and dropout rates decrease. According to the State of Utah 23-24 data, CTE concentrators had a graduation rate over 96% compared to the statewide average of 88%. Offering CTE classes in a 9-12 building model helps create a more inclusive and collaborative school culture. It breaks down barriers between grade levels and academic tracks, encouraging students from diverse backgrounds to work together on projects and problem solving. Another key advantage to a 9-12 CTE program is the opportunity to participate in career and technical student organizations, or CTSOs. Those include Skills USA, FCCLA, FFA, HOSA, or FBLA. These organizations provide leadership development, teamwork experiences, and real-world competitions. The earlier students can join, the greater the benefits. Students develop confidence, public speaking skills, and professional networks from their very first year of high school. CTE funding covers grades 9 through 12, and of course CTE funding is critical to its success. Federal and state CTE funds, such as those provided under Perkins, ongoing legislative funding, maintenance of effort from our district, and a slew of grants, support program expansion, modern equipment, and professional development for teachers. However, in our current model with 8th and 9th graders together, we muddy the water with CTE funding. With our 6-year state audit coming this next year, I am truly concerned with the outcomes that could be from the mixing of classes and how money has been spent previously. With our buildings going to a 9-12 model, funding concerns or misappropriations will go away. In summary, offering CTE classes in a 9-12 grade building model means earlier exposure, more structured progress, higher student engagement, stronger sense of community, and greater leadership development.
Mr. Wiley, just by chance, can you email me a copy of all that? Because it was really good and I got about the first line. And you know what I mean? It was a lot, it was very heavy. I mean, it was a lot of information and I really enjoyed everything you
If
said.
you'll send it to me, I'll send it to the board. I think that might be easier.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you, Laura. Appreciate both of you for your public comments. Thank you. Okay, now we will go into our public comments for our school fees, but first of all, we're going to have Keith Meekham, who is Assistant Superintendent over our secondary education, give us an overview of those.
Do you want to get this one? He's red, green, colorblind, so the correct number. I'm sorry. Probably HIPAA violation.
The color looks identical. All right. So this is every year. Actually, we're actually required to have a public comment for community members, parents, students, staff to make comment on student fees. And previous to this year, the rule was you had to have this approved by the April 1st school board meeting. The problem is there was a House Bill 344 that was passed this year that impacted our school fee structure. And so our legislators made some changes of how school fees can be gathered, what they can be gathered for, and it is going to change how we've done things for over 32 years. So it is going to be a little different. I definitely believe there's going to be some challenges, some misunderstandings, some frustration, but this is, we're going to do our very best to help explain what that is. It is on every school's website as well as our district website. And what I thought I would do is show you kind of the significant changes, and I don't know if you can see that. Let me try to make that a little bit bigger. I was going to try to show you the significant changes from last year's fee schedule to this year's fee schedule. So first of all, you need to know that there are no school fees in K through or pre-K 5. But once you hit 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, there are school fees that can be charged. a couple of major significant differences is over the last, honestly, it was 97, 96, somewhere in there, when we went to a general class fee. When I first came to Box Elder School District, was working at Box Elder High School, every kid, whatever class they took had a price tag. And so if I took this class, it was $1, $2, $5, $10. Another class might be cheaper, might be more expensive. And so every time people would come in for registration, everybody's registration fee was a different price. And then the decision was, let's go to a standard or a general class fee. So you can see on the left-hand side there in column B, $25 for a 6th grader, $54 for a 7th grader. Middle school kids are $65, and high school kids were $91. So what you discover is people could pay that amount, and then they could take any class they wanted to take. It did not matter if one class was more expensive than the other. The change this year is that for House Bill 344, we're no longer able to do a general class fee, which means every class will have an amount again. Some people call this progress. I call it reverting back to 1995, 96. So since many of us, everybody in school, K-12, 2 generations of that have not experienced this, I am concerned from how this may be received by our constituents. So you're going to see something that's kind of interesting, and that is on line number 5 that says course fees. So now some course fees at the intermediate school will be 0, 1, 2, 4, 5, up to 15. Our middle schools, $1 to $20. And our high school fees, $1 maybe up to $38. Now, Mr. Wiley just spoke to us. Almost every expensive class that we have is a CTE or a fine arts, something to do with art. You're grabbing things, making things, creating things, and so that's our most expensive areas. You're going to also see that, in addition to general class fees not going to be able to be charged for, we also have student body fees that we cannot charge for. Student body fees, everybody paid it, but everybody was part of all these celebrations and these activities, and we're no longer able to charge for those, which is a problem. You can do the math of a $15 fee for 1,000 kids, for 800 kids, for 1,600, whatever the case may be. And there's some money there that we're used to give back to kids to help their experience, which we're not able to, at this point, charge for. Doesn't mean we can't offer it. It just means there'll have to be some additional money. One of the things that, because we can't charge a student body fee, especially at our high schools, we're going to institute a high school athletic game pass. So instead of students always getting in for free, now we say if you want to come to a game, you can pay $30, and that will be, we estimate that is from $30 to almost $150 or $180 if they were just to come in and buy one ticket. But instead of saying, I'm going to do $5 for this game and $5 for this game and $5 for this game, we are going to offer a $30 fee for people to be a part of. Finally, the last thing that I wanted to point out that I think is significant is our athletic participation fee. We have not changed how much money has gone to help cover transportation costs as well as fuel costs. I can't remember when. Honestly, it's been years. But we are asking for $10 additional to be able to be gathered as part of your participation fee and put in so that our need for transportation, fuel, and costs can be subsided. You'll see just a couple other little changes. By the way, There are some rules in cheerleading and drill that are requiring additional equipment costs that have not been there in the past, and so you'll see that we're asking for a $50 increase to help cover those. Now, one thing that you might be interested in, maybe not, but I think it's worth noting, is over here on the left-hand side, these are all the school fees that we gather at Harris, Young, Bear River Middle, Box Elder Middle, Box Elder High, Bear River High. And this is basically the class fees, the student body fees that we gather. And you can see that we're roughly, just this year in column D, $628,000. That's a lot of money. And obviously there's parts of this that with the new rule we're not able to charge those. I think this would be helpful. This is a little small, I apologize. Can you see that all right in the back? One of the things you need to know, and this is on line number 5, it's in highlighted, it says non-fee courses. No longer are we able to charge any fees for English language arts, health education, mathematics, science, or social studies. Those core areas, no longer are we able to charge school fees for. So obviously as a district, we're going to have to come up with some type of funding mechanism so that our awesome teachers that use supplies to help kids with hands-on learning and activities, and I can already see Mrs. Pace going, okay, wait a minute, what's going on? How am I going to do a science project? But all of our teachers are going to go, what's going on here? Especially those that are in those 5 areas. And so that is a new rule. It's based on House Bill 344, and our job is to support that. One thing that I'll just note here, what does it look like to have an itemized class? So if I'm a 6th grader, I just want to talk about 6th grade for a second, real quick. Am I going too long, Superintendent? Is this okay? So I have math 3 trimesters. So 3 of the classes, no charge. Language arts, 3 trimesters, no charge. Language science, no charge. If I happen to have a PE or a health class, no charge. If I have social studies, which you do, no charge. So there's only a handful of classes, but depending on what that is, if it's band or art or whatever that may be, there will be a fee. And you can quickly see that we may get over the $25 that it cost last year because we have to itemize. So that's kind of the pros and cons to this. Speaking of the middle schools, again, as you recall, and I'll go back to this slide right here, middle schools, we used to charge a general class fee of $65 right here. And so we aren't able to do that. So now when kids take classes, again, math, science, language arts, health, social studies, no cost, but everything else will be itemized. And that's something that we're looking at here. So you're going to see now on all of these, where does the money go? So I'm looking at Box Elder and Bear River Middle Schools. And so if I'm in Art Foundations 2D and the cost is going to be $6, this is where it's going to go. These are what they buy with that money for each of those kids. And every class, regardless of what you have or what you take, will cost you. Here's construction technology. As you can imagine, all the wood that you're going to buy for all the projects, that's not cheap. If you take that class, there will be, for an example, a $20. And just so you know, these numbers are kind of what we've always done. We just have said, hey, throw the money in one general pot and then we divvy it out. And we recognize that a math class might not be as expensive as a construction technology class. But now we have to itemize it so that kids in general can't say, here's my 91. Now it's based on what classes they actually take. The pros is now kids are not being charged more than they should. The con, there's going to be kids that are going to be charged more because of the classes that they take. And I do believe that causes some struggles And just so you know, all fees that are associated, most of them are waivable. So a fee waiver would apply. There are obviously some that are not fee waiverable, and I'll just give you an example of what that might be. If I take an AP testing, for example, you got to pay for that. You can't waive that. Concurrent enrollment classes, this athletic activity game pass, it actually is fee waiverable. I forgot to tell you that, but it is optional to purchase. Anyway, if I want a locker, it's $1. You don't have to have a locker email address, which we assume has. I've done this a couple of times, and so hopefully they've looked at it. I have had one parent respond back to me with a comment that they were not able to be here tonight, so I was going to share that when we do go to public comment. So before we go this, any questions you might have?
Okay, I have 3 questions. First of all, with the student fees, is that at the very beginning of the year? What happens if they transfer?
Yeah, so what happens is when this would happen in August, when school begins, that's when fees are gathered. Anytime someone transfers out after the first of the year, we do a prorated how much have you used. We would do a prorated and return whatever that might be. Similarly, if someone was to join our school district in November, we would do a prorated, because again, it's per trimester per class. And so we would have to prorate that, and our financial secretaries are really good at managing that.
And then with the student pass to go to the games, is that, even if you're playing the sport, I mean, obviously, if
Not
you're a
playing,
basketball
just
player,
observing.
but even if you're a basketball player, you still need to buy the pass to go see the football team.
Right.
And is there, I mean, do you guys have to figure it out, like how you're going to make sure they don't share that with other kids, or is that?
Well, everybody prior to just a handful of years ago, the only way you got into a game is to show a student body card. Like right now, people just walk in. But with this, you'll have to show us your card. And if, let's just say, not every ticket taker knows every kid. So you would have to show your IDs. And we would have something on the card that would designate that it's a pass. You're in, you're in. But yes, that's going to be a little bit of a technicality that we're going to have to work on.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think geez, don't we still have pictures on the activity card? Right. Yeah, we still do. So what we would do is we'd put, I think it was just yesterday, Mrs. Cronin, so you're good on that. But anyway, you had one more question. Yeah. Okay, I apologize. Any others?
Okay, are there any public comment on school fees tonight?
We said no, and just so you know, our House of Representative Tom Peterson fought like the Dickens to say no. Obviously, he and our other legislators have to take accountability for it, but I told Tom when I saw him that when we tell people to go talk to your legislators, I feel bad because he fought like the Dickens and didn't vote for it. But it did pass, and it does go into play this year. And just one more thing of note, we'll say again next year. Next year, we have to actually have a free option for high school. So you could graduate without paying a fee and not qualifying for a fee waiver. However, that option might not be the option you want. But there will be a free option. I don't know what it's going to look like yet. We'll figure that out in the fall. Can I read to you?
Can I make really quick? Can you hear this? I just want to make a quick comment because I appreciate. I feel like this every year. You put so much time into figuring out all the people who figured out these class fees and all these things. And know all the time that it's going to take, has taken, and will take for our office staff and secretaries and all those people that are putting in time to make this work. And we really want what's best for these students. I was just kind of scanning through. I've got a senior, a sophomore, and a 7th grader next year. I was just kind of scanning through what it's going to cost, and it's going to be, and my kids aren't don't take a lot, I mean, they take some CTE, but like my son will be taking some college concurrent enrollment classes next year as a senior, and it's going to cost us probably a bit more than what we're paying this year. And I'm fine, like I want them to get the education. I just worry about the kids that don't qualify for a fee waiver, but are below that threshold of I can take this. And I worry that we're going to be limiting opportunities. And I mean, I know we don't have control over it. I know that this is what the legislature has dealt us, and I think that we can still advocate. But I appreciate all the work you're doing into making it transparent, accessible, and we hope we can get these kids in the classes that they want and need.
I appreciate that. I will tell you, I hope that every student can take every class that they want and not ever feel like it's a money issue. And number two, I hope every teacher has the supplies they need so that they can be successful and provide a quality program. I personally, we've got to find a way, if there's any way, to have this fee either shortened, lessened, or eliminated. It'd certainly be something that we're still looking at a variety of options. We don't have an answer tonight necessarily, but we do have some insights into that. Wade, could I read this one statement from Julie Shumway, a patron?
Sure.
This was her comment. I don't believe school fees should cost more than they already do. I grew up in Southern California where public school was free. I believe all states should give a free public education.
That was online? Is that online, Keith? Online.
That was it was a virtual that they
Okay.
sent me that information.
Okay, thank you. Ben, did you have a comment?
I just want to echo what Mrs. Taylor just mentioned. I'd like to shout out to my CTE teachers. There's a lot of time. Keith Meekum, who's sitting right over there, there's been a lot of time put into this because legislators passed a bill they didn't have the time to do, and they were forced to come up with a plan. And I just want to put a shout out to all my CTE teachers and then Mr. Meekum, because what he just summarized and they took a lot of time to make sure that we're in compliance. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Ben. Any more comments? Come on.
Oh, she's coming up. Can I ask a question?
Okay, you bet.
So I just wanted to ask, previously when students took concurrent enrollment, was that covered under the original fee or is that an extra if they took that concurrent enrollment?
So that's a great question. When people would do a general class fee, 60% of the class fee was covered by the general budget, or that general number. 40% of the class fee was provided by CTE funds. So we don't have enough CTE funds to cover all of CTE, but 40% we do.
That's a great answer, but my question was in concurrent enrollment.
Oh, concurrent. I thought you said CTE. Well, concurrent enrollment, we can charge fees, and we did. So kids were able to take all those classes. However, if Weber State or Utah State requires a fee, that was up in addition to the $91.
So concurrent enrollment didn't change?
Correct. I apologize for sometimes CE and CTE is just one letter, but boy, it can cause problems.
Can I just clarify that for just a second? Because, like I've had kids take concurrent enrollment classes, and they pay the college whatever cost it is for the credit, but they haven't had to pay extra fees for the class.
That is correct.
That's come out of the class.
The extra, yeah, that's from the class fee.
So now we're going to be paying the class fee and the college credit fee.
Not in math, science, language arts.
Well, not in that science, but like in the human anatomy
yes,
and the medical.
Well, that would be science.
Well, it's listed on there, so that's what I was wondering.
Oh.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. I think it's our basic graduation requirements.
I'm Cassandra Merrill, and I just want to kind of echo what, Shumway, I don't know her first name, said. I grew up in a different state as well where I didn't pay any fees for anything, but I also understand your guys' issue of if you don't charge fees and you have to find money some other way. And obviously raising taxes is not a popular opinion, but I don't want to either. But I just want to kind of put to the board that if there's anything that we as constituents can do to help, I know I'm not a parent in the district yet. My son's 5 months old, so he's a little far off from school. But there's a lot of us that would be happy to brainstorm and to try to come up with ways or fundraise or whatever. Even people that aren't necessarily parents yet, because we do have kids that will be in the district someday, and so this is a concern for us in the future as things get more and more expensive. So I just want to put it out there that if there's like an email opt-in option or something where you could get some people kind of brainstorm, at least I would be open to that. I know other parents would be as well, to try to help people that, like you said, don't fit that waiver, but also can't really afford the fun, more advanced classes. So.
Okay, any more comments? Okay. We have one more public comment on school fees in June next month, so be aware of that. If you know of any that would like to comment, have a comment in June, okay? Okay, we'll move on to our action items now. Our first one, approval of amendment to Century Elementary's SLT plan, and that's Heidi Jo West, our Assistant Superintendent in Elementary Teaching and Learning.
Okay, so I'll just give you a summary of why Century is doing theirs. Dallin is new. He received a plan for School Lands Trust that he inherited, and in managing his School Land Trust funds and his TSSA funds, he allocated the teacher stipend out of the opposite budget and then realized it later. So his adjustment is just to say, please approve the financial change so that I can give the stipends out of this budget, and then the thing that wasn't paid for will, out of School Land Trust fees, funds will be paid for out of TSSA funds. So that's the adjustment. So I just recommend that we approve the amendment for Century.
I move that we approve the amendment of the Century School Land Trust plan as submitted.
Julie Taylor has made the motion. Do we have a second? Karen Cronin the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Now we go to Megan Bushnell, our Student Services Director, who will do our approval of our PBS plans.
Hi, everybody. So I hope you had a chance to look over the plans from the different schools. If you remember, it's the Positive Behavior Support Plans, which is money provided from the state to help us in prevention, mostly of substance use. And so at the beginning of the year, every school has a person who submits their plan, and at the end of the year, they go and review their plan with the data to see if what they're doing is making a difference or if they need to adjust their plan. So it's recommended that the final positive behavior support plans from each of the Box Elder School District schools be approved as written.
I move that we approve the positive behavior support plans as written, as been presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Karen Cronin and then a second by Julie Taylor. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Megan. Okay, now we go to our approval of negotiation teams.
Karina's not here. Last month, we tabled this motion, and since that time, right shortly after Lieutenant Governor, just lost her name, Henderson, thank you, ruled that the House Bill 267 would be held not functioning until November's election of 2026. And so with that, we will once again negotiate with our BESPA, our BEEA, that's Box Elder Education Association, and our Box Elder Administrative Association. We are still going to hold listening sessions and information sessions with a large group of teachers. I think we have some of those tomorrow. And so with that, we'd like to have those groups that are on there approved to be in negotiations.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I have just a question.
Oh, question? Okay.
So will the information from the listening sessions be wrapped into this as well? With
Okay.
that, I will make a motion that we accept the recommendation for the approve the 2025-2026 negotiation team members as listed.
I second.
Karen Cronus made the motion, Stephanie DePhillips the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Our negotiation team is set. So let's go.
Could I just ask a quick question?
You bet.
Question? So she said it's hold off till the November. So next year we'll do the same thing, like, so it's going to be off for a couple years. Okay.
And I just wanted to clarify with that motion that it included the listening session information being wrapped.
And I think we're invited to those that we would like to attend. Is that correct, from what I understand? Okay, good. Okay, so our approval of modification of TSS framework, Keith Meekum and Heidi West, our assistant superintendents, will present that.
Yes, thank you. So the TSSA is what we always call it, is called the Teacher and Student Success Act. And local education associations, LEAs, districts are required to have a framework, which is basically a blueprint and a procedure of how those funds will be spent, when the deadlines will be, what is allowable, what is not allowable. Some of this is already determined by 53G-7-1304. So there is some rule that we have to follow. There's no way to get around that. But after reviewing this, specifically with school fees in mind, we looked at possibly some flexibility where more of these TSSA funds would be able to be used to help maybe offset some school fees, which would maybe lower our school fees than what maybe we presented today. Just so you know, per board rule, the funds that we receive, I want to say $4.1 million, that would be right, $4.1 million is given to the school district from the state, and 25% of that is required to go to salaries of employees. And you could have that up to 40% if that was a decision that the board would want to do. Obviously, the more money that we put into salaries, which is good, leaves less things for schools for their plans that they have to help student and teacher success, supplies, extra people to work with our students. Also, one of the things we noticed is, as I went back and read the actual rule, I thought our policy, this framework, was a little out of sorts. We weren't quite as in alignment as I would have hoped. And also, we had to adjust when our TSSA applications are due. We tried to have them previously right on top of our school lands trust, and feedback from our administrators was this is a tremendous challenge. It is true that our goals might be the same, but to try to run both of these plans simultaneously was a problem. So you're going to see kind of on the fourth paragraph where it says the annual TSSA plan, we're going to recommend that in June that we will bring that to the school board for approval of the TSSA plans. And then what we would do, and this would be a plan for the upcoming school year, but then later on, near the bottom of the document on page 3, it has the end-of-year report. So obviously, we're finishing the 25-26 school year right now. However, a lot of our data that our teachers, or excuse me, our administrators in schools use has yet to be collected. So to have the date be in May as an end-of-year report doesn't make any sense. So we're asking that that would move into the fall, possibly November, when all the data from our state testing and everything has returned. Then we feel like we can give a good report of what happened the previous year. So with that, you'll see the red is the new material that we would like to add to the framework. The black either was already mentioned in some of the red that has been crossed out, and yellow that was part of the old plan that wasn't part of policy. So with that, we're asking that the Board of Education will approve the new framework. This obviously originated in 2019. It was tweaked in 2023. And again, now with what we have, we would like to tweak this just again to become a little more in alignment with our, with the state expectations. And just know what our hope now is that we would send 75% at this point to each school that they could then use to support rather than 50%. And you might be asking, so my math says where'd the other 25%? So in the last couple years, we've just sent 25% to special education. And what we're asking is to obviously let special education get the support that they need, and use other funding mechanisms through general funds to support that, but then use the TSSA funds to help support students and teachers, especially as it relates to buying and purchasing supplies, equipment, things of that nature, which we think will offset the possible needing fees altogether, or at least limit that less that we had earlier today to a much smaller number. Questions?
I just have a comment. As I've met with schools over the past couple of weeks, it's become pretty evident that the TSSA funds Okay, I was just saying, as I visited schools over the last few weeks, I've heard a lot of things about the TSSA funds and how much that they are appreciated and how much they're being used to help the different programs be able to help students achieve better. So I'm grateful for the funds, and I'm hoping that we keep putting them to the students.
Thank you.
And with that, I'm happy to approve this as the new framework, just with the emphasis on the money going to the schools.
Okay, Karen Cronin has made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Julie Taylor has made the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay, now we're going to go to our 2025-26 board meeting calendar, and Superintendent Carlson will present.
Okay, each year, according to policy 1072, we have to set our yearly working board meeting schedule, and generally it's always been the second Wednesday of every month, and the proposed schedule follows that. I will say that each year in the past years we've had to change our October board meeting, but this year, because of just the time of the calendar, it's on October 8th, and fall break is the next week, and so we don't have to realign that one. We do have, if you'll look, on July 9th, we have a work session at 2 p.m. We've had varying times. I think last year we started at 2 p.m., and so for those of you in the audience and the board members, we have that work session generally until roughly about 5:30. Then we have dinner together, and then we go into the regular July board meeting. I just don't, does anybody see anything else unique there? And May 13th, for the retirement banquet, we always rotate between Paris, where we're at tonight, and Young, which we will do next year to be able to use their wonderful commons area and then come into the room to honor our retirees. So with that, any questions?
I move we approve the calendar for the school board meetings for the 25-26, the meeting schedule for the 25-26 school year.
Okay, Julie Taylor's made the motion.
I'll second.
Stephanie Phillips the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we have our new calendar. Now we'll go into our information items. Our ACT data, Jeff Morris, our assessment director.
All right. I think I've heard that so far tonight. Okay. So it's my pleasure to present to you our ACT results for this school year. As we look, we're moving through the slides pretty quickly there. But is this the first slide, the second slide, Keith? All right, there we go. Just making sure. Okay. So the ACT is a state-required assessment. It's administered to all 11th grade students. We use it as part of our federal accountability measures. Currently, we give it in math, science, English, and reading, and we get college readiness information on each student with it. The state has set benchmarks for college readiness. For English is a score of 18, reading 22, math 22, and science 23. So on the next slide, it says kind of what those college readiness benchmarks mean. That they believe that if you get that score, you've got a 50% chance of scoring B in a college class, or a 75% chance of scoring a C in a college class, based on your current ACT levels. So that's what those readiness benchmarks mean, okay? So this year, we decided to hold our ACT at Bear River and Sunrise High Schools on the very first testing day, and coincidentally, there was a national crash of the ACT website on the first testing day. It caused quite a bit of a ruckus. But in the end, there was some time lost, but all students were able to test. And the ACT offered some compensation to the families, and 60 students took advantage of that at Bear River High School, and they got free vouchers to retake the ACT at a later date, okay? Based on the data that I've seen so far, it doesn't appear to have impacted our scores in any significant manner, all right? And my eyes are not as good as they used to be, so I can't see all of my data up there. So, if you look right there, usually I would have our statewide data on here as well, but I've been guaranteed that that data will be available on June 14th. So, not today. So we just have our overall data for Box Elder School District and each of the 3 high schools. You can see where they were, and this is the composite score that doesn't have that readiness. Okay, it's June 11th. That's the date they'll have it ready. All right. So on the next one, as we look at our math, you can see that we're pretty close at the 2 full-sized high schools, right? And over there on the right, that's that college readiness mark. Now, we may go, wait, why is that so far to the right? These are our average student scores that are posted right here. And so the average student is right there as a junior. There's still senior year to go, right, to get ready for college. But we've there are many students that scored well above that red line on that college readiness.
Do we have any way to gauge those that are college bound versus those that are that don't know if they're going to college?
That's a great question. I don't have that information right now.
We'd have to go into each individual PCCR, and maybe our counselors, Mr. Wiley, might know that. Do they track people that have identified that they are going to go college bound in a PCCR as a general number?
Our college access advisor does have a list of students that have applied for college, and we could pull that data and then have a specific, like a better idea of what the average ACT is for that group of students that are moving on versus those that are going directly into the world of work.
So do they have to have applied to college, or can they just, in their PCCRs, say that they are looking at going to college? Application would just take in seniors, wouldn't it?
A student can just say in their PCR, yeah, I'm planning on going to college, but there's no guarantee that they are going, like the UCAC advisor that has the data of actual applied seniors. So their data would be a year old because their ACT would have been the year before, but we could pull that data and look.
I was just thinking by the times that they apply, they're seniors and already taken this. I was just wondering the trajectory of those that are kind of planning on it and where they would fit into these numbers.
Okay, thank you. All right, so on to the science. Again, you can see the scores there and how everybody is done with each of those, with the science subtest. The red line is off to the right a little bit, but on the full packet it should be there. Okay, and then our reading has typically been a little bit higher, but you can see there where we are as well, and we're much closer to that red line. All right, so on the next one, okay, so our ACT English, we are actually hitting that line on average with one of the schools in our district. Average is kind of right there at that mark. All right. So this is the report over time, and there's a lot of information there. You can see on this one each subtest. We've pretty much stayed about the same the last 5 years. A slight decrease in some of the subtests, but it has been pretty consistent, especially the last 3 years. And then we are getting high participation rates for 11th grade. This is a high participation rate. We've had about 90% of our students participating in the ACT each year. Students see value in it where it's part of their college application. Typically, scholarships depend on it frequently, so they want to participate. All right, and we have some plans here. I know Bear River High School has participated in a few things, but there are several different things the high schools are doing or have available to them to prepare students for the ACT, including there are free SHMOOP accounts, which every student in the state gets access to that. Free ACT test prep prior to the state training, focus and messaging, mostly newsletters that counselors send out and that come from instructional leaders at the school. They incorporate test prep questions into their 11th grade core classes. They're trying to make sure that students are getting preparation just in their regular content, because this is the state test for 11th grade. So then there's also online ACT prep during B time, and they use the Aspire Plus assessment in the 9th and 10th grade that has a predictability factor for the ACT, and they try to supply additional instruction and intervention to students based on what they're getting in the 9th and 10th grade to help support them and be successful on ACT. All right? And then there are some changes coming, and you may have read about this back in the fall. ACT announced that they would be just restructuring the test, making it a little bit shorter for each sub-test. And I've got all the notes there. Yeah, go ahead. You're fine, Keith. So these are the changes that are coming. The composite score will only be math, English, and reading in the future, starting in the spring of 26. So that's next school year. But the state of Utah does not want to lose that science. And we've heard from state leadership, along with a push from assessment directors throughout the state, to keep that science as part of our Utah state test. So we'll continue to get that score, it just won't be part of the composite. Then we'll have shorter reading passages and fewer questions on our reading and English tests, and extended time for the science test. It'll be a little bit longer because they're trying to match the NCSS standard for science. So a lot of exciting news coming from ACT with these changes. I think it's going to be very beneficial for students to have extended time and shorter reading passages and fewer questions on many of those. And I'm excited to see what our scores look like after next spring. All right? Are there any questions? Okay. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to share the learning data, the evidence of achievement, as we've been calling it. So thank you.
Thank you so much for putting all that together in such a concise way.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Okay, now we move on to our Adult Education State Audit Report from Sunrise High School. Randy is are you going to do it, Keith?
I'm going to do it.
Oh,
Randy,
okay. Okay.
I just apologize. Randy had a kind of a family emergency, and he came to me and
That's
said,
great.
can you cover? I would like to introduce 3 awesome people, maybe 4, but there's someone else coming. So you were the one locked out. I got a text just now that says, Kay's locked out. And then I'm like, this is a problem. They're here, but Randy just got to me and said they're locked out. So thanks, Ryan, for running. They call that calling wolf, and you're not out there. I just want to introduce 3 really important people. There's lots of people. There's 11 other people that we could recognize here, but Tessa Leslie, will you please stand? She's the adult ed secretary. She just took this job about 6 weeks ago, maybe a month. But she's been working with adult ed and other folks at Sunrise, so we're grateful for her. Kay Kraus, she's our adult ed instructor, GED test coordinator, very heavily involved in adult education. Thank you. And then we have Tracy Odell. She's an adult ed para and GEL instructor. So they obviously go into the GEL and other youth homes, etc., to help teach and to motivate and to encourage. And it really is an amazing program. Randy says to me, I was just going to read this part. So I'm not going to say it as me, but I'm going to read it as Randy. In addition to these 3 amazing staff, we have an additional 11 staff members that are part of our adult education program. Together, we help to further the educational goals of the 250 adult learners in our district, 250. These goals include earning their high school diploma, completing their GED, general education development, and to improve their English language proficiency. According to the Utah board rule, each adult ed program is monitored and reviewed at least every 3 years. Different events within programs earn points, and when a certain amount of points are earned, a site visit from state personnel is required. The points awarded for a change in the director position guarantees that a site visit will happen when a new director is appointed. And as you know, Mr. Jackman was at Sunrise, moved to this school, so it's required automatically that there's going to be a review. On April 15th, just this last month, Stephanie Patton, State Director of Adult Education, and Alex Ellerman, Program Specialist, visited Sunrise High School. We discussed the questionnaire that I had previously filled out. They audited our student files. They conducted interviews of students. They also visited the teaching side at the Box Elder County Jail. And again, Randy wanted to express his appreciation for Stephanie and Alex for their collegial nature of the visit. They truly felt they were there to help, not to get us. As a result of their visit, a program review letter was sent to Mr. Rasmussen and to Superintendent Carlson. A copy of this letter is included in your documents that you can see. I just wanted to briefly say what Randy had mentioned. Some of the commendations that they recognized, and this is a kudo to you three and your 11 buddies that are awesome. They are invested in each student's success. And you're going to find that out at June graduation when we've already outgrown the auditorium. We're going to be in the gym. Yes, AC, woo woo. And but I'll just tell you, they're invested. They build connections. They empathize with students and allow conversations to center around the student and their needs. During interviews, the students also express their appreciation for their teachers' genuine concern and support. The program utilizes teachers strategically to provide subject matter experts and increase instructional options. If I'm not mistaken, you travel from place to place often. Okay. Oh, you do. You go to the jail, and then you're there. That's okay. Yeah. I know you didn't hear that, Mr. Gordon, but I just want you to know that I did, and I apologize, and I'll take the hit. But thank you, Kay. A couple other things, the program's files were some of the best in the state, so kudos there. And the messages that on our outreach tend to have a warm demeanor. I've never heard that word, but I like warm demeanor. Style that helps students feel cared for and for while still maintaining high expectations. Now, with any audit, there's going to be some recommendations. And for example, for assessments during intake, but do not address post-testing. So they talk about assessments when they get there, but they don't really, they've had a little struggle for the follow-up. So the program must include post-testing expectations. Mr. Rasmussen says we have created a new student enrollment contract that explicitly states the attendance requirements for progress testing. It includes a provision that the student must participate in progress testing or their access to their class will be paused. We've adjusted our fee schedule and our promotional materials to show that fee waivers can be obtained. Also, another recommendation is student retention rates are low, which also influences post-testing rates and measurable skill gains. Mr. Rasmussen reports that they're working with the state to implement more engaging activities in the mandatory 12 in-person hours. We'll also implement more frequent contacts with students to remind them of the requirement to progress test. The third recommendation was the program needs to update their inventory with serial numbers and purchase dates to track non-consumable assets. And they've got a plan put in place. This will be resolved by the beginning of next year. And finally, not all adult education personnel are being evaluated was one of their recommendations. And Mr. Rasmussen reports, although all staff members in the adult ed program participate in the BESD staff evaluation process, the state requires that there be an annual evaluation of staff with specific focus on their role and performance in adult education. So they have been receiving evaluations, but not on their specific role as it pertains. So Mr. Rasmussen says a protocol has been established that will outline how that process works. In summary, he felt like the review process was very positive. It highlights the strengths of our program, which is the relationships we're able to build with students. It also gives us areas in which we can grow, which we're committed to do. So for you three, thank you for staying the night a little bit, and thank you for all that you do. Can we give them a round of applause? Are there any questions that I may pass on to Mr. Rasmussen, or maybe I'll be able to answer, potentially, just if you had any?
Not a question. I have a comment. I was able to go to Sunrise a few days ago, and there is a warm demeanor there, and it is a wonderful place. And in talking with Principal Rasmussen, he commented how much he appreciates the State Board of Education and how much they help, and he feels like they're truly being supported there by the district. And so thank you again for what you do, and I would invite anybody that has time to go and take a tour there and just spend a little bit of time. It's a great environment, and I talked to a couple students, and they all love the experience that they're having there.
Yeah. Obviously, Mr. Jackman was there previously. We've just seen exponential growth of adult education, graduates, GED, et cetera. Am I right on that? And we look forward to honoring them in June, another group.
The other thing that Principal Rasmussen said is that they should be on target this year to hit above the 80% mark to take them off of the
CSI.
So another congratulations in order to thanks for
Lots
your
of
hard-
some amazing work.
all
So
your
thank
hard
you.
work.
Congratulations, Sunrise.
Thank you, Keith, and thank you, teachers from Sunrise, for coming tonight. We appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, now we have Ben. Ben, you're a popular guy tonight. Okay, Ben's coming up to do our, what is he doing tonight? Let me see, the CTA, right? The CTA director, counseling report. Okay.
Probably a little both. Keith, I believe there's a doohickey thingy. Yes. Yeah, there's multiple pages. At the request of the superintendent, I was asked to share with the board earlier this calendar year. I received notice from the State Board of Education, my specialist over comp guidance, that we were out of compliance with our ratio. This conversation should really start with a thank you to our leadership team, and all of them actually happened to be here except for Mrs. Fife. When developing this plan to come in compliance, if you'll go to the next page, Keith, so the board can see, keep going, there we go. So as you can see, my cute little chart, our current numbers are in black. Next year's numbers are going to be in red, and that's our counselor to student ratio in our 4 secondary schools, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 grades. Without complying with that R277 rule, we would have been over 1,400 in 3 of our 4 buildings. Thanks to the leadership team, we were able to submit this plan. I chatted with my specialist at the State Board of Education last week. She proposed our plan along with others to the State Board of Education because of our belt team and myself. We were the only plan approved that were out of compliance. So we are now in compliance, and so next year those numbers in blue you see, and then the final one at the bottom in red with Box Elder Middle School, because their enrollment is really not changing. We will be within just a few students of the 1 to 350 rule, with fluctuations in enrollment. We are in compliance, and we've been approved by the State Board of Education. Any questions? No. It's not.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Appreciate that. Okay, now we have our monthly financial report. Neil Stevens, our business administrator.
Are you going to skip over the governor? Do you want to wait on that? Do you want me to take just a second? So out of the blue, Governor Cox and First Lady Abby Cox contact through their people Superintendent Carlson and says, we want to have a down low, no one knows, no fanfare, quiet drop-in to Box Elder Middle School. This happened yesterday. They didn't want signs. They didn't want the students to know that it was happening. They didn't want an assembly. They just wanted to come in and they wanted to play kickball with a PE class and then talk to teachers, not administrators, just teachers. And so Superintendent asked me to kind of get on that. Mr. Gilmore, Mr. Nelson, Mr. McKee, their staff just went right to work. And I just thought I'd show you some fun little stuff of what happened here. So just so you know, let's go back here. Governor Cox went to lunch at Idle Isle on a Tuesday that's not open on Tuesdays. But when they called, the owner said, hey, we'll come in and have dinner. So they have lunch at Idle Isle, and then he proceeded to walk from Main Street up to 5th East. Our student council members got a hold of him about a block away, and they walked together, and it didn't rain. It was just really fun to see the kids be a part of that. We stopped for a little bit, and the governor and his wife spent some time with the student council talking to them, and obviously took a little fun little picture here. After that, we headed to the gym. So this right here to the right is Governor Cox, and the one on the left is Rich Nye, who is the, what would that be, superintendent over at, yeah, public education advisor to the governor. And that's my wife, Robin. She was a PE teacher of that particular class, and they decided that they were not going to play kickball outdoors. They did indoor baseball with a wiffle bat and a big, soft type, I don't know, dodgeball-ish thing. Anyway, it was a lot of fun, and I'll just hurry here. Here's Governor Cox. I was just thinking how great a picture that was, that I took it and the ball was still in the photo, but if I recall, he missed it. But he did get the next one, but a pretty good swing there. Oh, here's a little video. Oh, no. It did. That was his wife getting a base hit it to shortstop, ran out the throw. Then they went out in the field. The governor was pitching to the students, having a great time. Check out his boots. Not really floor efficient, but he did not get hurt, and it was awesome. Another video, and I don't know why my video's not working today. Do you have any idea? They were working earlier today. Anyway, he pitched. A kid hit a home run off him. He was all pumped up, and I can share this with you. And then with about 10 minutes left in class, we thought, he needs to talk to the 100-ish kids, 90 kids that were in class that day. And he gave a great speech, and we could be here all night if I gave you the 3-minute video. But 2 things he said. If you want to be happy, 1, connect with people. And that's what the research says. If you want to be happy, you got to find a way to make connections with people. And number two, if you want to be happy, you have to go and serve others. You got to look out beyond yourself. And he said, ironically, there's a third, which is exercise regularly. And he says, so we were able to connect with people, help reach out and help others, and obviously get a little exercise. But that was kind of his message. And it was pretty awesome to have him take some time. And then after that, he visited with about 6 teachers for about 45 minutes. The teachers came out happy, excited that the governor and his wife took the time to listen. And it was quite the show. And for all of us, we just stood out and made sure that, you know, we talked to the security guys, made sure nothing was going on. But it was a great activity for the teachers that were asked and also for the students that were able to be a part of that. So that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Keith? Okay, so Neil, we'll do our monthly financial report now.
I'm going to walk up the podium because it's easier for me to not turn my head so much. Keith, go to the last attachment there, the FY25 MSP final.
This one right here?
Yes, please. I want to highlight here, final allocations for the current fiscal year we're in came out last Friday from USBE, and there were some adjustments there. The biggest adjustment we're going to have is on the line that says K-12. The K-12 program is funded both state dollars and local dollars. So you've heard the term local board levy. That is set by at the state level between the tax commission and USBE of the minimum amount we must collect from property taxes to be able to receive the state level guarantee on the WPU, otherwise known as weighted per pupil unit. So they have estimates that they provide, and at the top there, top right-hand corner, we see that, top left-hand corner, the amount basic levy revenue required, $10,793,492. That's the state estimate. We collected for the basic levy approximately $12.2 million. So that, because we collected greater than the estimate, that reduces the amount of state support we receive in that program. So we didn't receive less money, we just received it from different sources. In this case, increased property taxes above the amount of the estimated by USBE. I'll pause here for any questions on that part right there. Any questions from the board about what that means or why it may happen? It happened because we collected more taxes, most likely from property tax growth. The valuation of properties, new developments grew faster than they estimated it would, which resulted in approximately $1.65 million more for our district from local property taxes. So what is actually happening is we're changing the source of the funding from a state support program to more of local support by that amount. Almost all the other changes here are due to changes in the student counts. So majority of programs are funded what we call a membership count. Membership is how many days a student's in class. It's a measured percentage of 180 days of students in class. And so that data isn't available in audited form or finalized form until September, October. So there's a delay between the legislative estimates that are performed at this time of year and when the final data is available for calculation. And so they do an update to the estimates. And the majority of the reductions we see are the result of those updates to the estimates. So essentially, in some programs, USB estimated we would have a greater head count, greater membership count in those programs than we actually had. The pupil transportation reduced by about $600,000. And again, that's an estimate. That's not based on student counts, that's based on miles and minutes. How many miles our buses travel, transporting kids to and from school, and also how many minutes it takes to do those. We had changes to routes the prior year, and it made it kind of hard to nail down the estimates of where we would be at. We estimated high, and then when the USB was got around to updating the formula from the legislative changes, and also updating with our actual miles and minutes reports that we would provide to them in the summertime, that resulted in a reduction from our legislative estimates last spring to what we have now. In the program, I think we'll be okay. I think our expenses aren't as high as they would have been, and I don't think we'll have to contribute much more local dollars to support the program. Those are the big highlights in the end-of-year funding. Do you have any questions about that?
I have a question on the teacher salary supplement.
Yes.
Like we're about half of what we like. Then what is that and why?
Teacher salary supplement program requires an application by the educator into the program in those concentrated areas of math, science, and special ed. And so if teachers don't apply or don't complete the application process or renew their application, they won't get the funding. So it's on the educator to apply. This is just a supplement addition to what's under contract. About $4,200 is the max they may receive if they're in a qualifying assignment throughout the year. So this represents less educators participating in the program. It's not a reduction to our actual budget.
So is that what? Is there a reason why less educators, do we have less educators who qualify for that program or just less educators participated?
Well, we could have less educators qualify between their credentials and their assignment. So you have to have a degree in a qualifying program and working in that qualifying program in our LEA. They have to have an assignment there. If they don't qualify for the program. And so it's a combination of either educators not following through with that or having less educators in those qualifying areas.
Just for point of reference, TSSP is going to go away, and it has a new name. It's called the Salary for Supplement for Highly Needed Educators, or acronym of SHINE.
Correct.
And so I don't know if you were going to say that next, Neil.
I have another document that talks about next year's budget.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay.
Do we have any questions, more questions on the end of year numbers here? Great. Keith, let's go back to our list of documents here. Yeah. Let's look at our, yeah, that one right there. Yeah. Zoom in there for us to be able to see. So this is a projection that compares last year to this year. And there's some significant changes in how things were funded. Ultimately, we had an increase of about 8.4% in total funding. Much of that funding is restricted. So in the top line here, the section A talks about regular basic school programs. We have K-12 professional staff, NES, which is necessary existent small schools, and foreign exchange students. The biggest change we have here, number 2, professional staff, that was moved out of that line item and moved to below the line. So we didn't really lose funding there, it just got moved to a new place. Ultimately, in that section A, we will increase by about $3 million in funding. Between the K-12, which is a student count of our students in grades K through 12, NES, which is necessary existing small schools or Western schools, receive funding in those areas, and foreign exchange students. In our next section, section B, regular basic program, we receive mostly increases there. However, the CTE program, which is a very large part of our education program here in Box Elder, actually was reduced by about $361,000. So there was a reduction there. Up a little higher, if you could. Line 7, CTE add-on, had a reduction of $361,000. As a combination of the legislature cutting some programs, such as the CTSO, so the CTE student organizations that go out to competitions and other events, they cut funding for that, and also the work-based learning received reduction funding as well. And that's all lumped into that CTE line. Legislator also cut funding in special ed for the what we call impact aid program. That primarily goes to fulfilling admin costs and other administrative burdens that we may have on our program. That was reduced by $78,000, and that is in line 5. So that comprises, and line 6, special education state programs extended year. It shows a reduction. It's not actually a reduction because it's a program that we have to submit to the state board on qualifying educators after they perform the service. So this is a program for educators to work on their IEP files at the end of the school year or the next school year to make sure they're compliant and have all necessary documentation. And so it doesn't show here how much we get because it depends on how many educators perform that work at the end of the year or before the next school year. Generally, we'll receive about the same amount, about $98,000. So it's not an actual reduction, but it shows on paper as reduction because we don't know how much we'll get in the coming year. Did I tell you how? Yes. Yes. So what the program is they have a set amount of days throughout the school year they can work, either before or after the beginning of the school year. And last year was 5.5 days. Because of funding constraints, USB reduced that to 4 days. So there will be a slight reduction. However, if more educators participate, we may have an increase in funding there. And that's all in addition to the contract time. Do we have any questions about, this is the main bulk of our funding here.
Neil, may I make a comment? Line 3, the NEST formula, necessary existent small schools. I know we've discussed that before the board meeting. And so there was a bill passed this year. It's got some projections to stay steady for the next several years, and you can see that we did increase numbers. I don't think that was because of the bill. I think it was actually because you get funding at our western schools for elementary and for secondary. And this year, last year we did not have secondary students at Grouse Creek. This year we do, and so I think most of that 220,000 increase was based just simply on a 6th grader. Yeah, 7th grader? I'm not sure.
7th grader, 7 above, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the, and I think we need to thank Senator Sandel, who was very instrumental in helping this bill pass, and Tom Peterson, who did support it. So
I would point out that bill did not pass last year and did pass this year, and changes of that funding formula were beneficial to us. Any other questions or comments on this section so far? That section D are related to basic programs. This section, it compromises the majority of what we call restricted funding programs. That we can only use it for specific purposes. However, the second line item there in that section, it says flexible allocation. That is where professional staff went. So it shows like a 15,000% increase in funding. It's actually because they moved professional staff from above the line to below the line. You can see our prior year funding was $32,000, and now we're almost $5 million. That represents approximately a $500,000 increase to professional staff, which we use to pay staff for mostly steps and lane increase and other compensation that goes towards their contract. We, LEAs or districts rather, rely on that heavily to help fund those things. We have other reductions throughout this section. Digital teaching learning is a reduction, dual immersion is a reduction. Student health and counseling support programs, there's a reduction there as well. So we have a handful of reductions there. Overall, if we put on the very last line item in green, estimated total allocations, $8.4 million increase. However, many of that is restricted in nature. We can't use it in the general program or for whichever purpose we see fit. And so we need to make sure that we're aligned with those requirements. So in reality, we have about $3.6 million of unrestricted funds for the next coming school year. And next month, we'll be presenting a more detailed budget of how we propose to spend those funds and develop budgets in different areas for the upcoming school year. Any questions? Great. The next two items I'm not going to cover here. They're more informational items for the board members to review. If they have questions, they can contact me, but they're fairly lengthy and detailed. One of them is the monthly budget report. I put out there that our fiscal position is healthy and strong, sufficient resources to cover obligations, and stay within our budget currently. So in the interest of time, that concludes my presentation.
May I make a comment prior to Julie's question? Brian Smith is watching online, and he said, please tell the board members to speak louder, and I think that's everybody. So I'm just backing up. Robert, you're not the only bad guy. One of their co-board members is too. Or just helpful.
So help me understand, and I think the below the line and above the line. So below the line are those where you're talking about restricted funds, like it's saying this has to be used in these specific purposes. Instead of above the line, we have a little bit more flexibility.
Yes and no. So above the line programs are funded on the WPU basis, so weight of pupil unit. And that when the legislature says we gave 4% more funding, that means they raised the WPU value per student 4%. Below the line programs are allocated based on a flat number the legislature puts out there, and then USB calculates funding based on student counts or some form they established for each district or charter school. So it kind of yes and no. Yeah. Mostly below the line is restricted funds, except for our voted and board support. Those are unrestricted. Everything else below the line is restricted.
That helps, thanks.
Any other questions? Back to Wade.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you. Okay, do we have any board committee reports this month? Karen? Okay.
I don't know if I have a committee report. I did go to several schools over the last few weeks. I have a question. I had some teachers talk to me about, is that loud enough? I'm using my loud voice here. I had some teachers ask me about, I guess, a new House bill that doors are supposed to be locked. And there's been, in other schools, they had a different interpretation of it. One school thought that the doors had to be locked and shut, and they said that it's almost defeating the purpose because there's so many students going in and out that anytime anybody knocks, somebody just opens the door. So even if it was not supposed to be open, that's just where they're getting at. Another school said that they had heard that the doors need to be locked, but they can be propped open. So I'm just trying to get what is a little background on that.
We'll do a better job. It's House Bill 84, the security bill, the big one by Representative Wilcox. And the doors are supposed to be locked and shut. So we'll have to go back and make sure principals and teachers know it's going to be problematic. We've already had stories told about kindergartners who had to go to the restroom. They came back and were too timid to knock on the door very loud, so they're standing out in the hallway crying. So it's problematic, but that is the rule, locked and shut. They used to have magnets in them, we used to do a variety of things, but now it's locked and shut.
So I know that from the teachers I talked to that they felt like that we're making the situation worse. Did we have any input on that at the, what do we call it? JLC.
JLC, we fought against many of these aspects, but whenever you fought against anything in the security bill, it made you look like you were uncaring and didn't care about safety. So it was a fine line that the JLC fought. We tried to explain to them. I remember specifically talking about this particular topic, which is incredibly tough because, as I said, it's problematic. It takes away from direct instruction time, the teacher to go back and forth to the door, and we did, and I hate to say the term fight against it, but we did recommend highly not to make this such a strict requirement.
Okay. Okay, now we have our student board report by Easton Johnson, who's our student board member from Bear River High School.
All right. This last month, Box Elder and Bear River High School are finishing out the year strong. Overall, it has been an amazing year and an especially successful final trimester. Athletically, both track teams took region. At both Bear River and Box Elder, softball, boys volleyball, tennis, and both lacrosse teams have represented the school well at state competitions, as many of them continue to compete in the state tournaments. Our fine arts department, theater is putting together their final production of the year, Pippin, that will open this weekend in addition to taking third at state competition. At Bear River, they just barely finished their very successful play Puffs. Academically, we have been one of the most successful classes to date. Tonight, the senior class will be recognized for over $7 million worth of scholarship money earned. Finally, as we wrap up this year, student government at Box Elder hosted a week of spring spirit activities, and we'll have a senior week to celebrate the seniors next week to keep our school spirit high as we end this incredible year. As Bear River, we have a summer send-off week that will celebrate seniors and graduation. We would like to thank the school board for all they do and wish them for the best as they make critical decisions about the future of both high schools.
Okay, with that, I'd like to make a presentation to our student board member. Easton, this will be your last board meeting, and so each year, let me stand here and get a picture with you. We have a plaque here, and it's just for Box Elder School District, Learning is Everything, student board member, Board of Education, and it says Easton Johnson for 2024 and 2025. We also have a gift certificate to Maddox's in there. So let's get a picture here, okay? Okay, each year at this time when we say goodbye and honor our board members, it's unique how each year we've grown to appreciate their uniquenesses and the great strengths. I think Easton has done just a fabulous job, and I've really enjoyed getting to know Easton, and it just is a great honor. Public education has been in the media, and some people believe that we're not doing a very good job. This right here is an example of how great young men and young women can be when they go to Box Elder School District. He's got a great, bright future, very articulate. I've enjoyed visiting with him on other topics. I feel really, really bad because he called me at 6:30 and said, "Don't we have a board meeting tonight?" Well, he had driven from Tremont over to the board meeting. It is some of his problems. He apparently didn't look at the agenda because it's on there. But I should have done a better job reminding him. And Easton, I just want to tell you, it's been a true pleasure to get to know you, and you give me hope for the future. So, any comments, quick, to talk about your experience this year?
I've loved it, and I recommend more districts to do the same.
Thank you, Easton.
Easton, we really have appreciated you. I have to say that I've been on the board now for 10 years, and every January we go down to the state board, school board conference, and every school board shows up. And when we first started, there were hardly any student board members, hardly any at all. Box Elder was one of the first to have student board members, and every year, because of Box Elder's example, it's increased, and they've got more and more. But I have to say, this year with Easton, they're all good, but he was truly the cream of the crop, I have to tell you. He was leading a lot of the discussions and doing just some super stuff, so we worked with Easton, and he's just the greatest. So, best of everything to you, Easton, in the future, okay? Okay, now we will go on to our policy review. Our first of all, policies for review with no changes. Any questions on any of those?
Do we need a motion for the policies with no changes?
I was just going to say that I'm one of those that are on the policy review committee, and I just have enjoyed. We do read them all, and we discuss them, and I just wanted the people to know that we really do put effort into our policy and we care.
Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, we can take a motion now, Karen.
Do we need a motion for no changes?
Okay, so Karen Cronin has made the motion for policies with no changes. Do we have a second? Okay. Julie Taylor, the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So we'll go to our policies on first reading.
A couple of comments and a couple of questions.
Okay.
On policy 2030, I've talked to Neil on page 3, G1. The number for the amount that needs to come to the board is 150,000, and there's just a zero left off instead of 15,000. It's 150,000. So I just wanted to bring that to the board on that one.
On that one, Neil and I have talked before now. There's been in the policy it said that if it's a fund, is this the fundraiser or is this purchases? Purchases, okay. I'll wait on and talk to the fundraiser. So this is perfect.
That was the one.
Okay.
That was the only thing I had on that particular end.
Okay.
Then I had some questions on policy 5110, technology security, and they were just some acronym questions that I couldn't find what the acronym meant. And so I didn't know if in the policy we would want to have the first time the acronym is used spelled out. I can get with Robert after. I tried to get with him before, but it was late and he was getting ready for this. So acronym WPA, don't know what that means. Acronym VPN, don't know what that means. I do know what acronym IT means, but it's not spelled out. So I can get with him and we can spell that out. Or do you want me to touch pages, Robert? Oh, I didn't see any acronyms, so you can help me know where to look.
So if we, ooh, that is really hot. If there is acronyms that you don't know that we don't have, we can add them to this definitions portion.
Okay, that's what I was saying. Were they in there, or did I miss them, or do we just need to add them?
I'm not sure. I couldn't hear which ones you said. So, but just let me know, and we'll add those for the second reading.
Okay.
Which page are we on, Keith? Page 3? Yeah, we're on 2 and 3. Yeah, this is a long time in the making, and it's very
well
needed for our district to get this policy approved.
Very well done. I just don't know what some of the things mean, so thanks for those.
Yeah, if there's acronyms you don't know, and IT is a self-explanatory one, but we'll make sure we get that one. ISO, BESD led by the ISO. That one was defined earlier.
Oh, no, that one was defined. The ones I didn't know was a WPA on page 5.
Oh, WPA is a type of security. I don't even know what the acronym is, what it stands for, but it's a type of security in wireless networks.
So maybe just
Say it again, Jared. Wireless protocol authentication. So we'll make sure we get that one updated.
Yeah, and then the other one was a VPN.
VPN, virtual private network.
Okay, and that one wasn't spelled out. So maybe
Okay,
add that to the
those would be the
definition.
two we'll make sure that we update. That
Thank
should be easy enough.
And then I have a question on 5270, student rights and responsibilities. Okay, I don't know.
Oh, 5270, that's a different one.
Well, no,
you go ahead.
You guys know what you mean by it. I just am not understanding some of the things. On page 10, I think it's number 14, so let me get to page 10. 14. It says that the designee for who to report to will be posted. I'm wondering if we could be a little bit more specific. Like, is it posted on the web? Is it posted in?
So will you go up to 14?
It is
Oh,
page,
so post,
page 10.
we can post it. We could put it on like each school's website. So do you want me to put, establish and post on each school's webpage?
If somebody was trying to go to
Yeah.
find where that was,
Yeah, that's great.
they wouldn't, I wouldn't have any idea where to go to find
And I'm
it,
wondering if
so-
we ought to say under the student, under the student tab or under the parent tab.
Okay.
Maybe, not that they're going to read this to go to that, but we need to make sure that's clearly findable.
Just so nobody, so somebody can know where to go to find that.
Okay, that's an easy fix.
And then on page 18, this is just a question. It says that this is 18RD. So let me get 18. RD.
Okay.
This is a report that goes to the state of the incidents of bullying, cyberbullying, and retaliation, and also the next one, the number of those. If we could have those also sent to the school board members, and if there's names, you can redact them, but just so that we have an idea of how many those are in a year.
We can get that from like Educator's Handbook for sure.
Okay,
So I don't know, do you just want them at the end of the school year?
It says you're already sending them to the state, so. can
Yeah,
you
we
just-
do it at, on or before June 30th,
Yeah,
so if we just do
when
it at the
you-
same time.
Yeah,
Okay.
just at the same time, if you could forward those to the school board members.
Perfect, yep.
And then my last question is just, it looks like that we are adding some, it went back to first reading, policy 3008, the employee communications addressing concerns, where we added some additional things. So we passed that last time on second reading. This isn't for you, but you can certainly answer it.
That policy. Is that the employee one? And I think that's Karina's.
Yeah. So we've talked about this one for the last 2 months, and then this month it came back as a first reading with additional information on it.
Policies, we felt like we would put that in so that it would make, sorry, Robert. The whistleblower portion of this is based on the fact that we just want to make it as open and as plain as possible. There cannot be retaliation if someone turns in a complaint to a board member or to one of the leadership or to another teacher. And so we just felt like if we added that, that would help alleviate that concern, because that's something we want to make absolutely sure that isn't happening.
And I wanted to highlight that.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying
Okay.
it's come back. We passed it on second reading last time. We brought it back for first reading
Yeah.
because this was added. Is that correct?
Yes.
And we just want to reemphasize
Very
that
good.
there should not be any retaliation for anyone trying to forward a concern of any type.
Yep.
So I was just
Okay.
trying to
Thank you.
highlight that.
Thank you. Okay.
With that, I will make a motion that we pass the policies on first reading.
Okay, Karen Cronus made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And Stephanie DePhillips has made the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes. We go on to our second reading. Any questions on those?
I'll make a motion that we pass the policies on second reading.
Okay. Okay, Karen Cronus made the motion. Julie Taylor the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Great, thank you all. Okay, we'll go to our consent items. Any questions on any of those?
Yeah.
Okay.
The agreement, the Red Cross, is that something that I've never seen that one before, so I just wondered a little background on that.
I believe that we have done that before, and yeah. I hate to say this, I do not know if we brought it to the board before or not, so, Neil, go ahead, you know.
The Red Cross came to us a few weeks ago Corey Thompson and I met with them to discuss these. It's common practice for school district to have these agreements across to allow them to use our buildings in the event of a community disaster. Our buildings generally have the necessary facilities for cooking and cleaning and showering that may not be available to the community in the event of a large disaster like flood or wildfire. And they will reimburse us 100% of the costs that we incur for allowing it to happen. So this just formalizes what probably we do anyways. And then in my conversations across the state with other districts, they also have these same agreements in writing. I put this in here to make the board aware of these, just for their information.
Thank you. Like I said, we may have done this, but I didn't know that. And then the other agreement, the 7 mindsets, can you give us a little bit of background on that one?
Okay, so in the past we have used a program called Second Step for our life skills, social emotional curriculum. And because it was up for renewal, we sent it out to RFP, and 7 Mindsets was our winner. If you know, some of our elementary schools in the past have done a program called Leader in Me. This is similar to that, and it focuses on character building, it focuses on service. So it has 7 different, I don't know all the names yet, but there's 7 kind of life characteristics or goals that we want to kind of have K through 12. And so it's a program that we're going to use instead of Second Step. It has Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 lessons. And so that's what 7 Mindsets is. Any other questions about that?
Okay, any other questions on the consent items?
I make a motion that we pass consent items.
Okay, Julie Taylor's made the motion. Do we have a second? Aaron Cronin has made the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, our consent items are accepted. Suggestions for future board meetings? We're all good there? Okay, remember our upcoming events, our graduations at Bear River High School, and then for Bear River, Boxelder, and then Sunrise graduation, and Boys and Girls Annual Club fundraiser. Do you want to comment on that, Karen?
On the Boys and Girls Club? Or?
No, I sent out the flyers,
Yes.
so hopefully everybody has the information.
I will also, maybe the week before those, that's probably next week, isn't it? Make sure that we send out an exact time of when we will be leaving from the district office for both graduations. Okay?
Sounds good. Board handbook, there's no changes there, so we'll do now, we need to go into a closed session, so we'll take a motion, a second, and a roll call vote to go into closed session, then we will adjourn right after our closed session. So, okay, so we need a,
I move we go into closed session
okay,
for collective bargaining.
Julie Taylor's made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Stephanie has made the second. We'll have a roll call vote, starting with Karen.
Karen Cronin, yes.
Julie Taylor, yes.
Wade Hyde, yes.
Stephanie DePhillips, yes.
Okay, we are now in closed session. So thank you all for coming.
I believe we've been set up to go into the library, so that way Robert and their guys can clean up their mess.
Can we give a thank you to John Call, Jerry Jackman, and Harris Intermediate for hosting? Thanks for being here late. Thank you, IT, for setting this